a couple of years back. So I'm really happy to see you and excited that you could make it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Masinjoroge, Happy New Year to you as well. Daisy Mutai, Happy New Year to you. I see Thompson, Happy New Year. Johnson, Happy New Year. Bansi, Happy New Year. Brian, Happy New Year. Jerry, Happy New Year. James, Happy New Year. Sheila, Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, this is the day the Lord has made. Somebody says that the goal is to manage expenses prudently as the income comes. And then good evening to you all. I am new here. Welcome, welcome. And yes, you're going to learn a lot as well. I am happy to say that, right, welcome to season 8 of Get It Right with Atara Solutions. We took a break since December just to rejuvenate and refocus and just be more creative. And we are back bigger and better. And of course, our first session is tonight, where we are starting off with a conversation around money. My name is Grace Nzula. I'm a HR consultant with Atara Solutions. Atara Solutions is a HR consulting and training firm. If you're looking for HR consultants to carry out different assignments like job evaluations, salary surveys, or you're looking for somebody to support your learning and development, we also offer learning and development from coaching to mentorship and to learning and development initiatives. We also do recruitment, do not tire with their whole assignment of sieving through CVs, that outsource that service to us. And of course, if you're running an organization that does not require full-time HR, you can outsource your HR department to us. And yes, with us tonight, we have Richard. Unfortunately, Catherine Sidandi is not with us tonight. However, my co-host Richard is here. And Richard, you can say hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Happy New Year to you. Patrick, I went to Mombasa and spent a lot of money. How can I recover that money? Richard Magoma is a HR professional and is known for making people speak well so that you can get those presentations done very well. So if you need to make presentations so that you can get those contracts, Richard is here. Thank you very much. I am delighted to be here. And of course, as I will keep on saying, Atara Solutions gives us this opportunity for us to learn team building, job evaluation, and there's somebody who is hiding behind this mic. It is one Nelson Obuda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You guys must tell us what you're plotting. Hi, Nelson. He's on the other side taking coffee. I could tell, Richard, you're not in your usual place. Anyway, so thank you, Richard. And at this point, allow me to quickly invite our speaker. He is Coach Patrick Pomeo. He has really been instrumental with a lot of people in terms of just making sure people are what? Are being people, right? And okay. Okay. Yes, so I was trying to just allow Mr. Patrick to introduce himself. Yes. Yes, Patrick, take it away.
Good afternoon. Or is it good evening?
It is evening, yes.
I guess people are in different parts of the world, so the time very much depends on their location. I'm sitting in Ngong. It is 8:14 East African Standard Time, PM. The message you shared with me is a message I received last time in 1999 in about the same month. So I don't want to make it mine. I want to use the original message as I received it, that you also benefit from it. And then I'll summarize it with my recap on number of the issues captured. I hope I'm sounding clear, because my voice can be a bit big. Am I loud enough?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. I don't know whether maybe you can respond. Yes, I can see thumbs up.
That is the case, then let us start. Just for purposes of those who are meeting me for the first time, that is the person about 17 years ago. I've not put in the most recent photo. I've not changed it for some good reasons. It reminds me when things started. So about this time in 1999, I was in November. The invitation of one very, very powerful lady in this area of personal finance, Sharon Leger, and the message was exactly getting it right. And we did look at all the facets that make money right. So that's what I want to share with you. And the very first item is a mirror. You start there. You look at yourself in the mirror, look at how you do things before you question anybody else. You need to question yourself. It's a bit of deep review of self to find out what you don't do right. At this point is when, if you need to take a psychometric, you do it. And there's a particular psychometric that she actually proposes that you go through so that you understand the question, why do I do things the way I do them? Because if you don't address the basics or the foundational issues underlying why you do things the way you do them, you'll repeat them. And it doesn't matter that you're doing a lot of work planning. Planning does not work if there is no character change. And character change does not occur quickly. It can take 10, 15 years for you to get to the ideal situation. So the first step is to accept that I am not doing things right. And that requires looking at the mirror. And the mirror is not just physical. Mirror is actually taking a psychometric to be able to understand your traits, to be able to understand why you do things the way you do them. I'll share that with you in the course of this session. When it comes to money, it boils down to understanding of the personal financial statements, what you call the income and expenses statement, and the balance sheet. And people make a lot of mistakes here because not knowing what goes where leads to decisions that are suboptimal when you have money. And I'll give you an example. I went to Old Mutual yesterday to just check a fund I left there. Exactly in 2012 September, which is approximately 13 years from today. And 50,000 had just doubled to 100,000. It wasn't much money. But I can tell you that over that time, the 52,000 that I withdrew on the day I was there last, I used that money to buy Britam shares when they were doing an IPO later, and I sold those shares at 450,000 in 2016. So when you buy shares worth 52,000 and you sell them at 450, and the money you left in a money market fund has only doubled over the same time, you would appreciate which one is suboptimal. So knowing balance sheet structure and knowing how it aligns to your age and knowing how it aligns to your risk and return requirements is key, because a small investment of 52,000 can become 450 in exactly 4 years before another one of 50,000 can become 110 in nearly 12 years. So small decisions can change things in a large way if you appreciate what it means. So just a quick view of that. Most of us are running a job. What is a day job? And at the end of the month, we receive income. It just happened this week that we received salaries between 22nd and today. And most of that income get completely spent as expenses. And whatever remains for the middle class, for the people who don't have large income, it is income expenses 50-50. We run another month. For people who have a slightly extra income, we take some liabilities in the form of loans of various forms. I've just received an email from a client talking about loans. Right now, I've just read it. So loans are especially the smaller ones that are now very easy to receive, also very expensive. Those loans complicate the already injured balance sheet that was quite a balance between income and expense, in the sense that it increases the risk of someone else coming to visit you, called a banker, when you don't pay on time. So the balance of the money is spent. So after paying the loan, the balance of the money is spent out as expenses. If anybody tells you that I went to Mombasa, like the gentleman who has just spoken a few minutes ago, and I spent all the money there, nobody forced you to go there. You made a choice to go, spend the money, you had the fund. It is your balance sheet which is not balancing. And now that you cannot go back to Mombasa and reclaim the money, you can only claim it going forward in terms of how you do that. Now, the ideal thing to do from away from what we do usually is to, first of all, make money from somewhere else. You make your money not from a salary. At this time, you buy the assets. We'll be discussing that because that is the basis of a financial plan. The financial plan don't need you to have to make millions to be successful. You can make small monies work for you. You use those assets to generate income, and that income covers your expenses. And after covering your expenses, it also covers any liabilities which you have without you working for it. Now, this takes long. This takes a very long time. And it might take as little as 5 years if you know what to do. But for the average person, the learning curve is very long. So this takes very long for most people to be able to move away from them being the source of the income to come to a place where exclusively assets are earning the money. So I just want to look at a quick thing about what we do versus what we ought to do, and then suggest the small changes that people need to make, because when you're making them, you can't be in a hurry. You've got to be consistent. You've got to take a lot of time getting the behavior right, then things will just fall in. And there are months, if you look at your years, 10 years backwards, you can clearly see where you are versus where you are. And there comes a time when you have 10,000 bob, you know what to do with it, as compared to when you had 1 million and you didn't know what to do with it. I think that is the kind of situation you want to come to, when you know what to do with 10,000 bob, as opposed to when you did not know what to do with 1 million, because 1 million can be spent just the way you spent 10,000 bob. At the end of a few quick months, you will be at the same position, regardless of the fact that you received quite a bit of money in your hands. I will go ahead and just walk you through few more steps before I get into my main subject for the day. But at the end of the day, money needs to come from any of these three assets, either a business, or paper assets, or real estate assets, depending on your pocket. Younger people can afford paper assets, might not be able to afford real estate because the investment in real estate is always enormous. And if you are to wait to invest in a real estate, then that will take you very long keeping money in a place called paper, like cash or in a bank deposit where it loses its value. So the best thing to do is to buy what your money can afford. However, I need to say this, that businesses generate the most amount of money. So the people who are able to build businesses will always generate more cash flow, and they are able to invest better. At the end of the day, they have more money to invest, whether they know how to invest or not. The first thing is that they have more money to invest. So business itself does not last forever, but it does generate for you a lot of cash flow if you do a good job with it, which you can actually invest into the paper and the real estate assets and the gold and others. So again, just being aware of the age, the risk factors, and the return factors. Because I'm speaking to a wide audience, I'll avoid speaking the language of a stockbroker kind of person. Just being able to align yourself to what am I supposed to buy. This is an advice you can get. So it doesn't have to be you thinking about it. This is advice you can get when you look for a financial advisor. With your paperwork, it can tell you the kind of income you are making, the kind of risk you face on the other side of the expense, and therefore the actual amount of money available to be invested periodically, could be monthly, could be quarterly, could be every 6 months, and lead you to the correct type of assets that money can buy. Then there is this asset called you that needs also to be sharpened. If you rely on you to make money, then you must invest money on your skills. And that means two things: being in the know of what skills are in demand in your area of expertise, and acquiring them at the right time. Because a skill acquired too late is worthless. I look at myself today. I used to do financial modeling, simple models, when I was much younger, in a few hours. Today, in my 50s, I struggle to model very small things. So for me to go and now look for financial modeling skills at this age, spend a bit more money on it would not be useful as much as I need it. I would rather hire that than invest on it, because the cost of maintaining it is a lot more expensive. Now that I am not very busy with the models, and Excel is really changing. So a lot of things are changing very fast, that I might not find value for putting 300K in that kind of a course. But I would not mind spending 800,000 shillings on a course that is teaching me something else that I find relevant. So that you is the source, usually for most people, is the first asset that will then buy these other assets. So the you need to be right for you to be paid well at the right time in your ages, I mean along the phases of your life, to be able to earn the right amount of money at the right time. It doesn't add value when you earn the right amount of money late in your life, and it cannot buy bigger assets. This is a success equation. I'm going to discuss a few things about it. It is one that I would urge everyone to look carefully into. The equation was developed by Napoleon Hill, and is about a combination of your passion and talent. Multiply that by the associations, and multiply that by action. this is a very important formula to master. You're always advised to find something that you find easy to do. You add talent to it, meaning you improve talent to make it work. Your association is your network. People who can lead you to transactions, people who can lead you to opportunities. Who do you know? Then you multiply that by action. Remember, there's only one addition. There are two multiplications. If you multiply 0 in that bracket, you get nothing. If what you have inside that bracket is 0, you multiply it by your association and your actions, it still amounts to nothing. So the value starts in the bracket, knowing what you are good at, and then sharpening it, and then using the value of your network, and more importantly, building character through action. So that is an important equation that I keep getting questions on parts of it. Should you invest in skills? You should never use the word invest in skills unless those skills are intended to bring returns. Because going to school is not investing if the school is not improving your competency. And being competent is not enough if you cannot do much with it. There are a lot of competent people that are not doing much with the talent. So you need to bring in talent to competency, and then use the networks to get more opportunities to do what you ought to do with it. So a lot of us who want more money and do not want to play in the bracket, I'm very sorry for you. And I see a lot of messages about graduates saying they are jobless. Well, yeah, they are. And it's because they miss something in the bracket to be able to start doing what they can do without that degree. Because degree gives you the learning, the ability to learn, and just learn literally everything. So management trainee level, you don't have anything in particular. You are walked into a place where there's everything, and you only learn one thing or two, and then begin to move with that. So getting it right requires you to get your association right, but more importantly is to get your passion and your talent right. And then you add action to it. There is nothing that is not big enough if the market is big. So I want to move away from that. Sorry, my skills are hanging. I don't know why they are hanging. Oh, sorry, they are hanging. So I think I was around there. And I just want to summarize that, and then we can discuss another thing. There we are. So in life, we have a lot of choices to make. It's a choice between living below your means and a choice about expanding your means. Both of them are very difficult. The easier one is living below your means. And the more difficult one that gives you more life is creating more assets to expand your means. Now, it also comes with the risk of loss. People who prefer to cut expenses as a way of life tend to live more below their means. But people who want to create more, take more opportunities, they make more but also lose more. The beauty is that over time they become masters of what they were doing. And in the long run, the expand your means group tends to live better than those of us who prefer to live below our means. In the short run, living below your means may be a very good option, but in the long run, it is a waste. When you are under tight circumstances, you might have to reconsider, how am I spending the little that I have? But the danger with this is that it becomes a mindset. Once the mindset is completely around living below your means, it is very difficult to expand it to now change your ways to live in a manner that you expand your means. And expanding means sometimes means taking a little bit more risk than you would. And I want to say this because life is in phases, approximately 11 phases. Now, I think I'll be showing you that slide later. Once you are beyond phase 7, phase 6 and 7, typically your children are in high school and campus. And that is a phase of life when your income might not be available because of the choices you made earlier. The kind of schools they go to, you chose earlier. So you already have to maintain a certain level of expenses. So a large income becomes more of a story than a reality because it is coming in the left and leaving through the right, and it will live for almost 8 to 16 years in a row, depending on the number of children you have. So that there is a fallacy where you make good money, you don't put it in the right places. Then you come to an age where you are still making the good money, but the choices you made in phases 4 and 5 are now catching up with you in phase 6, phase 7, and phase 8. And you have to meet these obligations in a manner that when you are done with it, you only have about 5 years left to reconcile your what we call your financial phase, your final financial management phase, what we call a reconnaissance. In the reconnaissance phase, you only have about 5 years to make good. While you are very bright now, you can make a lot more money with 100,000 than you'd have made in 3-4 phases earlier. Your means are limited. So if you don't get the mindset of expanding your means earlier, and you live below your means at the wrong phases of life, it might be very difficult to implement the expand your means mindset. And I think I just want to leave that there. Tools that the devil uses, and the devil is not a Christian word. The devil is actually thoughts that we carry in our minds. There are a lot of things that take money away from you, and I don't want to discuss them. I'll leave them there. This tends to get out of the financial literacy space. But all the items listed there, if not handled well, can take your money away substantially very fast. All of them can take your money very fast. You've seen people going to churches and tithing 90% of their income and then coming to beg to live. You've seen the handout are not the hand up kind of behavior with money, very common in Kenya. You've seen a lot of us drifting from doing the things we want because we are alcoholics. The moment you are drifting, it means the combination of time and money are not coming together. Investment takes both time and money. So when money and time are not coming together, that is called drifting. Alcohol is a major cause of that. Cigarettes does that, especially to young people. Religion brings in faith for others that is in the wrong direction, that actually encourage fear. There is the correct faith, and there's the negative faith that supports fear. A lot of people hide behind lack of knowledge, informed by fear, not to invest time and money. And of course, there's flattery, vanity, and ego that come with sex. So those ones I want to leave there. And then education that is experiential as opposed to dictatorial. I want to leave that. I don't want to talk much about it. This is the first question that I want anyone in the session to ask themselves. Who are you? Who do you define yourself as? Because that person you say I am is the one that directs where your money goes. Are you defining yourself with this kawaida language, or are you defining yourself in the right way? This is the question of the mirror. Who exactly are you? Who do you think you are? The person you think you are and the 5 people around you determine your financial outcomes. I took this exercise way back in 2008, February, and I think I can comfortably say that out of my 27 friends, I've only retained 5, because I had to put people in the boxes where they belong. If I don't think that spending my day with you every day would add value to me, then I would spend very little time with you on a regular basis. And at that definition of who you are, most of us call themselves a wife, mother, grandmother, a granddaughter, an auntie, the typical lingua in the family, or by their career, I'm an accountant and I'm an entrepreneur. No. Can you imagine who a philanthropist is? These are people who are thinking about how to make money enough to live and to create more for others. So I don't want to go into that in detail because we need a bit of activity to go with it, and it won't add value to us. But I want us to let it allude to what I'm going to discuss next, because how you define yourself determines the definiteness of your purpose, which is particularly key in driving growth of your assets through investment of time and money. And when I talk about investment of time and your money, I'm not discussing the fact that you should be able to invest $1 million a month. If you're making 10,000, you may only invest 1,000 or less. But somebody who has a definite purpose will make a lot of money with 1,000 bob in the correct assets than someone who has a lot and did not use it properly. I think I just gave you a simple example of how 52,000 and 55,000 over a 12-year period have become very different. One became 450 in 4 first years, and I even sold those shares and paid a medical bill. One, as of yesterday, had just doubled in 12 years. So definiteness of purpose is what leads to having a plan. And then respecting the plan, because a plan is not the document, but the behavior that follows after that plan. A lot of people tend to do what looks big, which is more of flattery. Sometimes you just need small hidden things that no one is even seeing. But the day you pull your rug is when the answer can come out. Then know yourself, have a very good mastery of yourself, or self-awareness becomes a very key element, especially if you understand what makes you behave the way you behave. That is key, because every behavior is financed. And if you finance your behaviors, then you want to make sure that the behaviors you finance are the ones that give you the results you want to see. So making choices around your behaviors is key. Learning from adversity. Difficulties are there as education, not to force you not to do something. If things didn't work, it doesn't mean they won't work tomorrow. So the lessons from adversity are particularly very key. And they are lasting, because what you learn from adversity is a skill that never goes. Controlling your environment, and for us here is the social environment. It's very key. The social environment is determined by the 5 people you spend your time with. They affect your choices. They feed you with the silent voices that either lead you to or not to do something. Now, the question I will be asking you, not you, but what do you do for your children? That would be key. But I'll really be talking about you, because you cannot intend something for your child that you cannot intend for yourself. So controlling your environment is a key aspect. Now, you can see through these 4 things. that there's already an element of planning that we do not do naturally. So planning is not the writing of the document. Planning is the review of what has happened. And then you pick the small lessons from it. Beyond the development of a document, what makes a plan really be of value is the review of it. It could be just reviewing your diary. What is your diary linked to the things you want to do? And when you check them at the end of each week, do you feel like you're moving towards the things you wanted to do? And moving towards the things you want to do is not the bank balance. It is how will these things change the bank balance in a big way as they combine in the long run. And then controlling time, as I mentioned earlier, time and money combined together when we are investing. So controlling time is an important aspect. I cannot overemphasize that. I think that is one lesson I was taught when I was very young. A person who knew how to do it. And I think I have been able to use that very well a lot in my life. Sometimes I fail to do it properly. And then just having harmony in your life. If you have issues in your house, in any part of the room, you will be in trouble because they will either cost you money directly or they will cost you to spend money to run away from the peace. To run away to the peace you want. I ran away from your environment to try and find peace somewhere else. So harmony is key, is something you want to work towards. And then be cautious because every investment we make, no single asset assures you full return. Things will change in the environment of the investment. You've got to keep looking at the investment and be cautious to take good decisions that move the assets in the right direction. So I'm moving a little fast because this is like backward. This is like a foundational message around the topic I was asked to discuss, yet I have to discuss it. For parents, you need to ignite the entrepreneurial spirit of your children, and that requires you to use the right words. And there are words not to say, and you can see them on my screen. Because you block your mind when you say some of them. The moment you say, I can't afford it, you are no longer thinking about how to afford it. Rather, how can we afford it? Meaning, can we wait for the money to come? Can we work towards getting it come in a small way? It doesn't come when you want it, but you can move towards it. An enabling kind of talk really helps. A no is no, a no is not maybe. I learned to say no at 40. Before the age of 40, I was very poor with that word no. In fact, I learned precisely how to say no after meeting Sharon Lecher in January of 1999. I learned to say no, and I no longer feel anything when I tell you no, whoever you are. Then allow these people to make mistakes and to make mistakes early, especially before the age of 24. I'll leave that there. Then have them set small goals and celebrate the small wins that they make. The small goals, I want to save 1,000 bob from my school. What do you call the money you give kids when they go to school? And when you save 1,000 bob from that money is quite something. So I just want to discuss this con and then we move, because this is where the message that I was asked to discuss sits. The con of learning is about how we learn best. And money is one of those things that we learn the least in theory, but we learn more through what we do. If it is budgeting, it is not the Excel. It is what you do with your behavior around the Excel. And I'll call it Waste Watch. A budget is not intended to be fixed on a wall. A budget is intended to encourage you to take decisions that lower waste. And lowering waste for a productive use is one of the best things to the mind, because you learn that what I was wasting yesterday can be useful today. I think if everybody just takes their Excel and only asks the question around each line in the Excel, each expense, be it rent, be it fees, be it what that you pay, and you ask, how can I pay this differently? You will find waste, and waste is plenty. Between 18 and 40% of your expenses are waste, by the kind of choices you make in terms of where you buy and what you buy. So on top is doing the real thing. Money requires us to do the real thing. If it's investing, you don't have to invest big. You have to learn how to buy those assets. If you buy shares, by just holding a share over a period of time and picking information from the stockbroker, you begin to know how shares work. You just get, since every broker gives you a report every month or every week, you just read that report as and when it comes and ask questions. Why has this share price gone up? I can't see it from this report with my limited knowledge. If you ask the person who gave it to you, they will tell you. Why has this share price gone down? You soon begin to learn things like PE ratio, what they mean, and how to use them. You soon begin to learn things like the difference between the DPS and the earning per share. Why did they make 7 bob and only give out 1.5? Where is the difference? You soon begin to learn that. And those ones you can't learn in theory. Those ones you can't learn in a class like this and make good use of it. Doing things real. If you have a weakness, you have to confront it in a real way. You can't have a weakness and still sustain it by arguments from within you, and you expect that things will change. A weakness will keep on riding because it's already in your mind. You got to get it out by way of confronting it. So in the corner of learning, what is key here is that all the things that we are going to be doing with our money, we are better off operating in the first 3 boxes there, doing the real thing, simulating the real experience, and then doing a dramatic presentation. But as you begin to talk, get into the lower sides of the active learning, the retention is less and less. The things which you do move you better. So if you have a problem with money, with any aspect of money, is it savings, is it spending, is it investing, and you sit down with someone who is supposed to be an advisor and they ask you to go and do something, do it in a small way. The doing of it is the best lesson, because there's no way you will stop. And to use the words of my friend, I went to Mombasa and spent all the money. There's no way you will stop yourself from going to Mombasa to enjoy yourself when your friends are there. Whether it means borrowing to go and enjoy yourself, you'll do it. Because all of us are part of the humanity, and we have this strong feeling of belonging, and you don't want to be left out. And a lot of us are unable to say no to others, even when we know that we are borrowing to do what we should not do. So before I go into the real matter, this is the thing. These are the 3 things I'm talking about. If you want to know it, do it. To a small extent, if you have a way that you can simulate and get to understand before you try it, works very well with people who do, for example, FX. You are taught FX in a simulation before you actually go to do it to doing the real thing. And then if you can present to someone what you already understand, and they ask you questions, you will get to know if you're doing well. So getting it right means we question ourselves, we go to our mirror, which I showed you there earlier, and I want to go there because I don't have anything else. The mirror has to come live, and that mirror is only a representation of a traits assessment. You've got to do the self-awareness, spend some $200, about 25K, do a traits test. I'll put for you a link here at the end of the day. Know why you behave the way you behave. Know why you write things down in January and don't do them by end of March. Appreciate the small steps that you need to bring on board to start doing what you intended to do in a small way first. You may spend 2 years doing things in a small way just to build character. Then it's now easier to expand on the character that you built over 2 years in the 4th and the 5th year. Remember, if you are already managing debt, you will take almost 4 years to turn around some debt. You will take almost 2 to 4 years just to turn around debt. And in the process of turning around debt, you also teach yourself quite a lot of behaviors of balancing this and that. You teach yourself the behaviors around how to watch waste. Watching waste is not easy. Watching waste means changing the restaurants you used to go to. Watching waste means changing the friendships that you had. Watching waste may mean losing some people in your life who you are accustomed to going to golf with, or you are accustomed to going to that Reno charge with, because you can no longer be in some environment. So watching waste is not a very easy thing to do, and especially for people in the middle. Life phases 5 and 6, and that's around age 29 to 43. That's not a very easy thing for those people. And yet it's some of the things that you might have to do to change the dynamics around your money. So that mirror on the wall is the beginning of getting it right. The getting it right starts with me, not with my money. My money follows my behaviors, and behaviors are the things I do with the money, the things I finance. So at the end of the day, if you have not dealt with the mind, the me, the you in the asset, then it's very difficult to find success in the other 3 assets. You can put a lot of money in those other assets and still get auctioned. I think it's today I saw somebody being auctioned in the billions. And this is somebody very, very public, is being auctioned, and I'm discussing billions. So you would be auctioned because you've got less. You will be auctioned because your monies are not properly allocated. You don't have enough liquidity to do the things you should be doing. So that is the very first step. I want to speak about the 5 elements of a financial plan that you should put on this mirror. Number 1, you should have a written financial plan. Written does not mean implemented. If you fail to implement it, it will haunt you. That haunt is the only thing you need in your life, because it will force you to get back to the mirror. So the failures that you can see I have gone through because I did not do X, Y, Z is a class that no one takes you through. Is a class that you take yourself through and you are able to change permanently. So first, make an effort to have a written financial plan. Number 2, financial plan has 6 or so elements, actually 7. 1 is knowing exactly who you are planning for. That is you, the principal, the spouse, and the children if they are there. Then having a clear short-term, long-term, and medium-term objectives. I mean, medium-term and long-term objectives that you want to achieve. These checkpoints are important because they are the things that will haunt you. Now, when they haunt you earlier, the better, because then you are able to realign a few things. If they haunt you a little bit too late, you might not change anything. So be reviewing your plan at least at the end of the year on a very worst case, so that the haunting can occur early. The mind has to absorb the reality of the weight of the problem you are staring at in future by not doing the things you are supposed to do. Number three, the third element in the plan is normally once you have had a good objective, you've got a good vision turned into objectives. The next thing is, what are we going to do to achieve those objectives? A good financial plan will always discuss how each objective, the proposals for each objective. Now, in the cases where I have seen a mismatch between what was planned and what was done, is because you agreed with somebody what they needed to do, and then they did completely something else. So they may have invested 10 million shillings, which was the intended. They have invested small monies. They are now at 10 million cumulative, but the 10 million are in completely wrong assets. I recently had that kind of scenario with a couple which I sat with almost 11 years, and they had invested 18 million shillings for education. And unfortunately, the assets were so wrong, but by the time their daughter was given an opportunity to go abroad to study medicine, they had to sell another asset now to take her across, and with a loss of nearly 2 million shillings. So not doing the right thing with a plan which is thought through itself is an issue, but it helps you to now know what not to do. So for each objective, there's always a recommendation. Now, recommendations are developed in good understanding of your current situation and what you can do, not what you cannot do. The next level is usually the issue of now acquiring what ought to be acquired to make the plan work. So the plan does not work because it was developed. The plan changes with time. When the economy changes, certain things change. When your income changes, certain things change. You've got to accept your realities. If you are earning $1 million and suddenly you're now earning 200,000, then your plan of 1 million can no longer work. You bring it down to 200,000 or what 200,000 can do. Like I said, if you fail to do some things in the phases of 4 and 5, when you are between the age of 22 and the age of 35, they will catch up with you between the age of 36 and the age of 43, all the way to the age of 48. And for those of us who get children a little bit late, even into early 50s. And by that time, you only have 7 years left to turn around 60. So that's not normally the easier thing that you want to see. Then the last element in a plan is managing the debt load, because you cannot implement a plan within the circumstances that you prepared it in. When you prepare a plan, you are in a certain set of circumstances. If you already have debt, you have debt. There would have to be a plan for lowering the debt load to gearing you to debt that support the plan. There's nothing wrong with debt. You should actually borrow to invest in the plan. But managing the wrong debt load is the next crucial element. Getting it right means that you appreciate that some choices that you like, that excite you, you have to kind of dim them. Debt cannot be very nice if the debt itself is not supporting the investment. And of course, other than managing the debt load, there are some other long-term assets, or what we call long-term obligations, that are essential, especially for the middle-income person and the low-income person. Products like insurance, for education, work more for the middle income and the low income people. When people with high incomes can buy other assets that assure them a certain level of cash flow that can cater for the education of kids. So insurances are long-term obligations that need to be taken early. If you're taking them, pay them as quickly as possible. Let it mature, because they don't pay much of the obligation. They cover around 25, 30% of the education costs. In 15 years from now, what you are projecting as the cost of education will be just a third of what you need. So you will still need to have investments in one way or the other, whether they are hard assets or soft assets or assets that pay both. That would be the thing. So getting it right has to do with getting you right first, getting it right in your mind, knowing who you are, getting to tell you, not somebody else, this is where I am not doing things right, and telling yourself, this is a small change that I need to make, including working with someone who can see you, who can help you see clearly what the mistake is, and then committing a character development towards the new person, which, as I said earlier, may take not less than 2 years. Just character development require not less than 2 years of work, because most of us are not consistent. If you are able to be consistent, you can shift your character in about 6 months. But it's not the case. We are living in a real world where, as we are trying to change, certain things also come and interfere with the things which we were doing. So just getting the courage to get back on your lane in terms of your thoughts, and have more enemies who are initially friends. If you still have if you still find yourself being called nice names, people don't find you having changed. They don't think you are a bad person. They don't think you've really changed. Then there is still a problem. There's a bit of you that you still need to manage, because then certainly you will not get it right when you are not putting money where it should not be. So I don't want to overemphasize that. I just want to show you a slide, and then we leave each other in peace. 1 or 2 slides that I normally have for purposes of summarized, that are, yes, just there. I'm already showing it in a minute or so. I want to use it as a summary because the audience is of various ages. I just need to speak to all of us. During the working life, you are supposed to be doing items in blue. And the first item in blue is converting income into wealth. That's about buying assets. And those assets are best bought according to a plan. I'm speaking to my fellow Africans, and planning is not the common thing in this side of the world. That is something we really need to deal with. Developing a documented plan is not something very common. I was having a moment this morning with a Briton, and I was telling him, look, you guys come from an environment where your parents plan as part of life. And so you also learn to plan, and you are forced into it. Now, if you are in this forum and you don't plan, then your children are learning not to plan. There are certain things that must be documented. However small they are, they need to be documented. So the conversion of income. Now, if you earn income, you can only save about 30% downwards, meaning 70% of your income is generally consumed. So you are only converting about 30% of your income into wealth. You are buying assets according to your ability. If you can only afford shares of 3,000 bob a month, as long as you buy them every month, the 3,000 shillings every month, will eventually bring enough assets in the form of those shares that can relieve quite a huge element of your needs in future. There is nothing that beats growth. For as long as there is growth, consistency will always move you from the place of doubt. During our good phase of life, before we turn 60, we are still going to be protecting the wealth. And then as we move towards retirement, especially post-retirement, we go into the green zone. Apart from financing our regular goals that we were financing during the walk of life, there is nothing more important than financing your goals when you're no longer producing income. So the green element is in around age 60s, 55, 60s into 70s. And the pink one at the bottom, I'm not sure if that is pink. The one at the bottom for a man, that might not be pink, but for ladies, I think that is pink. Is just to be sure that there's some transfer, that even if you just have two chicken, a male one and a female one, let people who remain after you know that the male one will go to so-and-so and the female one will go to so-and-so. Some record of how your wealth, whatever you create, will be shared. Now, getting it right means that in your mind, you are very clear about all these things. It is not the scale, because the scale is a factor of effectiveness. The scale and effectiveness you can use small money to produce a lot of money. That bit I have seen, so I don't want us to belabor that about the amount of income. No, it's the consistency with which you set aside money and the consistency with which you actually buy those assets. Because I've bought these assets in my life and sold them from one phase to other. I can tell that in 2 or 3 years, money can grow by 1,000%, depending on what you buy. So as long as you take the right decision along your age, as long as you are doing the right thing every day consistently along your plans, you will eventually get out into what you want to do. And more importantly, this thing require you to have this tool here. That tool is what shows you whether you are spending too much and you need to do waste watch or not. Just listing the things you'll buy monthly. And more importantly, please look at the yellow section. The yellow section is a section that we insert intentionally, because if we don't intentionally add it, it means we are not putting money to assets. And if we are not putting money to any asset, we will surely not be getting the income from any of the assets that we intend to be holding. The only asset you may end up with is a huge home, and not the assets that will be paying you. So there we are. Being intentional around the yellow section, managing the sizes of the expenses in black to allow you to begin to include these items down here very intentionally. Even if you didn't have a plan, just manage your budget and begin to add items down there. By the time you reconcile with yourself and begin to develop a plan, you will be having something to start with. I think I would be in a better position if I took questions. I don't know how much time I was supposed to have.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Always a pleasure listening to you. And thank you for making us actually take stock. Literally, I'm busy thinking, oh my God, where am I? And I know quite a number of us here have been thinking about it and are just thinking, yeah, how about? And I'm just wondering, Patrick, there are those people who are like having money in the bank.
Yes.
They feel more at peace when there is money in the bank.
Yes.
And then there are those that them and the money cannot exist in the same room.
Yes.
how do we deal with such, do I call them insecurity?
They are both in problem anyway.
Yes,
They
yes.
just have different problems because people who like to see cash, unless you are telling me this is excess cash and I have assets that are earning me money, usually don't hold the right assets. Let me put it this way. The very first statement that I said when I was in my opening remarks, if you are holding an asset that is not yielding much, it doesn't matter how much money you've put in it, you will still have low returns. I've just shown you here. I went to Old Mutual yesterday, not another day, yesterday, to pick up a statement about money I forgot there. I knew I left it, but I'd never had the courage to go there. The money had just doubled in 13 years. So if you are holding the wrong asset, regardless of the amount of money in it, it won't change. You can buy a bond for 2 million, and you can buy these small studios for 2 million. Over 12 years, the studio will be 5 times the worth. So if the 2 million would be 10 million, the bond will still be the 2 million you invested, and the only thing you'd have earned is interest that is not equal to the 2 million that you put in. So at most, in around 13 years, a bond of 2 million will not be 4 million. But assuredly, if you bought a good studio in a good location, you will be having a property whose value is in excess of 5 times of what you bought it for, and the cash flow per month has increased at least double. So both of them are safe investments, but one assures you of both growth and growth and increase in income. The other one will pay you the same amount of interest every 6 months without failing. So unless you are a retiree, in which case the bond is right for you, but even a retiree over 12 years, the bond is no longer even paying half your bills. So if the one that wants to see money in the account and feel at peace is just in trouble as the one who cannot stay with the money. The only difference that one will be broke because he used the money. And if he's not sitting with the money in the account and the money is in assets, then that guy is better than the one who has money. Because not having money is not a bad thing. It is at what rate is your money growing at? If my money is growing at 3 times the rate and I'm able to use yours, I can borrow from you one that is growing at 1 time. Mine growing at 3 times is enough to pay you off and still give me twice. I'm being wiser. So the challenge only comes in if the person is really ignorant of what to do. And the only thing he's good at is sweeping the money when the money arrives.
That's true. There's Scholastica here who is saying, kindly share the stages of life.
Those ones are in a slide. I wasn't in a position to do so. You want to see them? There you are, Scholastica. Are my slides visible?
No.
They are not. So I need to be. And then now ask me what to do when, Scholar, so that we can deal with you orthogonally now and leave each other at peace.
There's a question here on the faces of life, huh? What informs one on how to diversify, and when should it start based on the faces of life?
First of all, diversification is a very huge topic. It has to be done right. There is this street talk about diversify. If you have 1 million shillings, what are you diversifying? 300,000 in what? 200 in what? So yes, diversification is a good principle for risk reduction. But let us not do it for the sake of doing it. It needs to be informed by the risk factors of the person and where they are in life, the phase of life. Someone in age 5, that is between 29 and 35, and someone in age 9, between 56 and 63, both of them having 10 million shillings. The younger one is supposed to be heavy, at least 70 to 80% of that money should be in asset classes that are growing, and only 10-20% should be in liquid form, assets that can be turned quickly into cash like money market fund or a bond, meaning they are pursuing growth. Someone at 70 is pursuing stability. They want money that pays them regularly. So rent, bonds, or a combination of portfolios that pay for them an amount per month. Now, if you walked into a stock brokerage and they prepare for your portfolio that can give you an amount X per month, it will be very much the same assets that you could buy yourself, only that you are not very bright enough to do it yourself. So they are able to do it for you better. But they are buying the same bonds, they are buying the same money market funds, they are investing in 1 or 2 assets at 5% offshore that can pay slightly steeper, because older people should not have their money exposed to high risk. So diversification is about where am I in life and what kind of assets am I buying that give me a balance of earning and safety, so that it should not be done without being informed. If you do it yourself, you will end up buying, for example, 6 different counters of shares. You are not diversifying. In fact, in many cases, those shares move in the same direction. So really you have many shares, but they are not safe in your hands because you did not know what is this factor that is driving the risk that I'm carrying or not. So it's a good thing to do, but it needs to be informed by people who know how it works, given your circumstances. Remember, someone in number 4 is very different from someone in number 8. Someone in 5 and 9 are very different. 6 and 7 are maybe close, but 6 and 10 are not. So look at somebody in number 5, their kids may be in number 2. They are hardly paying school fees unless they have chosen expensive schools. But somebody whose kids are in number 3 and 4, who is usually in number 6, 7, and 8, will be paying school fees, whether they like it or not. And they made the choice about the schools kitambo. They can't even change anything, it's too late. Have I answered? You just said somebody didn't mention a name.
Yes, that was not Scholastica, that was Pauline Karaoke. Richard, do you have any question?
Yes, Richard has a question, and the question is this. Thank you very much, Coach Patrick Wamayo Odhiambo, for that clarity, so that 2026 will be more promising than previous years. My question is, there is that thought process that if you want to solve your problems, you need more money. The second question is, sometimes we use money or utilize money because of the wounds that we have. Elaborate on that.
Come again, Richard.
All right. The first question is this, that for us to have solutions to our problems, we need more money. If we want our problems to go away, we need more money. Is it a proper thought process to have? The second thought process is, sometimes we spend money because of the wounds we have. Probably I want to buy new shoes because I want to impress somebody. That is a problem that most people have. Can you elaborate on that?
About the wounds, you need to deal with the social problem, because we make social choices and they have financial consequences. If the wound is not healed, you will be impressing people even at 80. So I don't think it would be right to pursue that thought as right, because what then ought to happen is to deal with the wound. Like I said earlier, there are certain set of behaviors which we carry. Exactly as you're saying, I want to impress someone. I want to be seen to be. That costs you money. And most of us actually buy cars at the wrong time. We buy the wrong car at the wrong time, not buying the car. It's buying the wrong car at the wrong time because you want to impress people. And it ends up putting you into bigger financial dilemmas because then the cost of running the car is what becomes the problem. So when the problem is social, deal with the problem first. Otherwise, you will be impressing people when you're 80. I'm sure you have seen people in this town who are dressing very smart in a manner that you can't even believe, where does this guy get money? At a very wrong age, you're even wondering, why is this guy dressing like a boy? Why is he putting on a chain, a golden chain at 70? I mean, there are some things which you can't explain except by, of course, the pains. Now, if you need more money to solve your problems, then there's a problem. The first problem is, have you identified the source of those problems? If you are paying school fees for everybody in the village never forced you to pay school fees. You made a choice to do it. You can make another choice to stop doing it. So if it's about philanthropy, then you need the capacity to generate more money. But if you are not generating more money, then you have no right to spend more money. Because the equation must balance, unless you want to be a thief. Even thieves can collapse financially, because you have to steal from somewhere, and that gate for stealing must be open. Otherwise, it won't be. I think someone is asking here.
Yes.
The likes of James Mwangi and S are inviting us to invest at 3K and make money. Is it a trick? I don't quite know, Bwana Nabutola, what asset they are asking you to invest in. But not every asset is right for all ages. When the 33K may be right for a 20-year-old, it might not be right for a 50-year-old. So I think it's good to check, but if there was something to say about it, if you can unmute and talk about it, I'll be able to answer you. Is it Daffy saying, I thought as long as I reinvest interest from bonds, I'm good and better than anyone who invested in a studio? No, I don't think Daffy, you're right. A property will grow in value. And let me give you the example I gave you there. If you bought a studio, studios are not built in the bush. Studios are built in the main trunk roads. They are targeting young, upwardly mobile professionals who don't want to live in the dungeons. These properties are built in areas where the land value is always growing very fast. There is no way that property will be of the same value like a bond in 5 years. No way. Even if it is backward. I can give you an example. All the property you see in Kilimani, the apartments, did not exist on the day Kibaki was elected in 2002. All the apartments, even the ones that went for as little as 3 million, and they are there around the Yaya Center. Those apartments around the Yaya Center, the older versions, they were going for 3 million. Even those ones today are going in excess of 15 million. So there's no way a bond that was going for 15 years or 20 years be anything near 1/4 of a property. No. If you are not a retiree, stay away from the bond. The bond is for retirees who need a consistent income to consume. And they need to be arranged in a manner that is receiving that money either monthly or quarterly.
All right. Okay. So I see, where can you invest well? There are quite a number of options.
That has to do with your age. Without giving me and information around your age and financial circumstances, that question will not be answered fairly. Your age and financial circumstances needed to know where would be ideal for you to put your money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the interest of time, I think we can now call it a night. I see it's already 9:30, and I know we never really finished this conversation on money. Is it okay? This is an interesting one. Just finally, is it wise to sell some plot of land and buy a studio at level 6?
At level 6, yes. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you this. Level 6 is even early. It would have been even late for level 8 and 9. But in level 8 and 9, that is really where now you must do that even. Because what is the value of holding 6 acres in Katani in a place where you will not develop them tomorrow? If you can convert the 6 acres into a quarter acre or a half acre in Rongai and translate it into an immediate development, the 6 or 8 million shillings that would be sitting in Katani can actually begin to give you both growth and cash flow. So if you are in number 8, 9, you now need cash flow. You need the developed property, not the 6 acres. But if you are keeping the 6 acres in Katani, you are keeping it for children, not for you.
That's true.
In 6, if you are buying a studio, buy the studio in the right location. Because there are studios that are bought in locations where they neither grow well nor pay you enough rent.
Okay. And finally, Peggy says, at 40, where do I start from? I'm challenged. And I think, Mwalimu, now you need to put in your email address so that people can do personal questions so that you're able to now guide accordingly. But maybe you can tell Peggy.
The first thing is to find where you are. Deal with the person in you. Because if you have not dealt with you, then you are cheating yourself first. You have to deal with that person in you that makes you make mistakes or do things that are suboptimal. Because it is not always that you'll be earning the big money. The big money sometimes go, and it may be big, but inflation has eaten it substantially.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Patrick. We've shared Patrick's email address and telephone number on the chat. You can always WhatsApp him. You can always drop him an email and just book a personal session with him. I am sure you will find it beneficial and it will help you redirect your finances. Peggy, Scholastica, and everyone else, if you can be able to just have one-on-one, because there's quite a number of circumstances that inform where you put your money, not just age only, like Patrick has said. So thank you very much. I don't know whether, Richard, you had a parting shot before Mr. Patrick gives us his parting shot.
Thank you very much for that clarity. I'm sure we've learned a lot, and we will implement most of the things that you have been able to enlighten us on. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you, Richard. I'm sure all of us will be looking at the mirror differently from today on. So thank you very much. Guys, Mr. Patrick, your parting shot.
I think for me, getting it right in your mind as early as possible really helps, because that self-reconciliation can be very tough. There is nothing wrong with mistakes. That is part of life. We walk a path. At age 19, we leave our parents. We start to chart our own paths. We walk with what we got from the environment. But the sooner you get to the mirror and deal with yourself, the sooner you stop making a number of mistakes. No for maybe is not a good answer. No for no, and a yes for a yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. It's always a pleasure. And welcome back to all of you. If you're joining us for the first time, this is where we normally are every Tuesday from 8 o'clock, and this is our first session. We have amazing sessions lined up for you for the entire year of 2026. And we are looking to growing together, learning together, and just flourishing together in this journey of life. So thank you so much. And please join or rather follow us on Instagram at Tara Solutions, like our Facebook page at Tara Solutions, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get It Right with the Tara Solutions. Also follow us on TikTok at Tara Solutions, and connect with us on LinkedIn at Tara Solutions. And also we have a Growth Grid mentorship program coming up from March, and we are going to share further details with you next week, but they are on the chat. And you can also join our WhatsApp group to just get to know what's happening on Get It Right with the Tara Solutions and the topics of discussions every Tuesday. That is where we shall do that. And Caroline, we normally don't share slides. We were live on YouTube, so we shall upload it there, and we can share with you the recording so that you can get a moment to reflect on what the spoke about. So thank you very much, guys, and see you next Tuesday, same time, same place, as we unpack yet another amazing topic to kick us off the year with intention and being deliberate about our success going forward. So thank you so much, and have yourselves a good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
I can wait a moment more. I can wait a moment more. Tell me cuando. Tell me cuando. Say it's me that you adore. And then, darling, tell me when. Every moment's a day. Every day seems a lifetime. Let me show you the way to a joy beyond compare. To a joy beyond compare. I can wait a moment more. I can wait a moment more. Tell me cuando. Tell me cuando. Say it's me that you adore. And then, darling, tell me when. Say it's me that you adore. And then, darling, tell me when.